All right, we're about to get started, but first we're going to test to make sure that the system is working. So hopefully, if you've tuned to 100.1 on your FM dial, please turn on your headlights. Excellent. Okay, you can turn off your headlights. We're about to get started. So will the 2021 Town Caucus please come to order? Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 53, Section 118, as Town Clerk, I shall preside until a chair is elected by the caucus. I now declare the meeting open for nominations for Chair of the Caucus. Do I have a nomination? Do I have a nomination for Mike Lawson to be Chair of the Caucus? I have a nomination from Bill Cameza. Do I have a second? I have a second. For Mike Lawson of 1695 Lowell Road. Do I hear any other nominations? If you have a nomination, please flicker your lights. Hearing no other nominations and seeing none, I have a motion to close the nominations. Is there a second? I see a second. All those in favor of closing nominations, please turn on your headlights. Are there any opposed? Please turn on your headlights. The motion carries to close the nominations. All those in favor of Mike Lawson as Chair of the Caucus, please signify by turning on your headlights. Those opposed, please turn on your headlights. I declare Mike Lawson has been elected to serve as Chair of the Caucus. Thank you.
Mike, I'm going to change this for 1 second.
Thank you, Carrie. I have inspected the notice of the caucus for compliance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 53, Section 118, and find it is in order. The notice was posted in 5 places throughout Concord and was distributed electronically to subscribers of news and notices. I have determined that a quorum is present. So my first order of business is I call for nominations for Clerk of the Caucus. Do I have a nomination for Ruth Lauer at 100 Keyes Road? I see that. Do I see a second? I do. Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, is there a motion to close the nominations? Blink your lights if you would do that. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor of closing the nominations, flick your lights. Thank you. All those opposed, flick your lights. The motion carries to close the nominations. All those in favor of Ruth Lauer as Clerk of the Caucus, please signify by flashing your lights. Those opposed, no, by flashing your lights. Thank you. Ruth Lauer is elected Clerk of the Caucus. The purpose of the caucus is to nominate a candidate or candidates for each of the offices to be filled in Concord. The offices to be filled this year are as follows: 1 moderator for a 1-year term, 2 members of the Select Board for 3-year terms, 2 members of the School Committee for 3-year terms, 1 member of the Concord Housing Authority for a 5-year term, 1 member of the Concord Housing Authority for a 2-year term, and 1 member of the Concord Housing Authority for a 1-year term. The caucus procedure is prescribed by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 53, Section 121, and is as follows. If more than 1 person is nominated for an office, the 2 persons receiving the highest number of votes cast shall be declared nominated for each office by the caucus. If the voting results in a tie vote among candidates receiving the smallest number of votes, which but for a tie vote would entitle a person receiving such number to appear as a nominee, all candidates participating in such tie vote will be nominated. If a person receives less than 8% of the votes of those voting for nominees, he or she shall not be declared a nominee. I propose that the caucus adopt the following motion as it has been done in the past. The motion is, it shall be the rule of this caucus that if the number of persons nominated as a candidate for an office does not exceed twice the number of persons to be elected to such office, the chair shall, unless there is a request from a voter at the caucus that a ballot be taken, declare such persons to be the nominees of the caucus for such office. Is there a second for that motion? Please flick your lights. I see that there is. All those in favor, flick your lights for aye. Thank you. All those opposed, flick your lights for nay. Seeing none, the motion is carried. We shall receive nominations in the order listed. For each office, I will ask the nominators to come forward and we will determine the order of nominations. Each speaker is to state his or her own name. Nominators will then write the nominee's name and address on the whiteboard and make a nominating speech, hopefully short. A seconder is required, but a seconding speech is optional, and I suspect we're not going to have any of those this evening. If only 2 candidates for each position, chair declares them to be nominees of the caucus. I will have all candidates then, if they would like, come out and be recognized. If more than 2 candidates are nominated for each vacancy, then a count shall be taken. If paper ballots are used, then the chair will declare the top 2 candidates as the caucus nominees. If anyone was not nominated tonight, if anyone not nominated tonight is interested in running for office, including those of you that will see this at home, the last day to file for nomination papers with the town clerk is Thursday, February 4th by 5 p.m. You will need to gather at least 50 signatures of registered voters, and the town clerk has blank nomination papers available at the town clerk office located in the building behind us. Please call ahead to make sure that they're available. I would also note that the League of Women Voters will hold a candidates forum on March 7th, exact time to be determined later. So I would now ask all of those who plan to nominate people for the office of Select Board to please come forward.
We should start with moderator, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I'm corrected. We will start with moderator. Is there someone here to nominate moderator? I see someone approaching. If you would just go to that microphone there. First state your name and address, and then you can tell us who you're going to nominate.
Good evening. I'm Elise Woodward, 379 Garfield Road, and I'm here to nominate Carmen Reese for moderator. Do I speak? Yeah?
You want to make a speech?
A minor one.
Please.
Carmen Reese has announced her intention to run for another term as moderator, and tonight I'm delighted to nominate her for this position. Carmen has shown her devotion to Concord, her expertise, her skills at moderating our town meetings, and her flexibility during her previous terms. I, for one, will support her to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second for Mrs. Reese's nomination? If there is, please flick your lights. I see that there is. Are there any other nominations for moderator? Seeing none, I have a motion to declare the nominations closed. All those, is there a second for that motion? Excuse me? No need to vote, that's correct. Thank you. So now we'll have nominations for select board. And if you're planning to nominate someone, if you could come this way. And you're to nominate.
Linda Escobedo.
Okay, well, just hold on, please, so we get everybody. Come in, please. And you're planning to nominate,
Carmen Reed.
okay? So you go over there and
Henry Dan.
Henry Dane. Okay, so Henry Dane will be first alphabetically.
Okay, all right,
So please,
go for it.
Mr. Martinez, announce your name. And then,
I think I'll buy that. Mark Martinez. I live at 66 Alfred Circle, and I want to nominate Henry J. Dane of 58 Everett Street.
thank you. Then go ahead and make remarks.
Sure. Henry and his family have lived in Concord for over 50 years. His 4 children grew up in Concord and graduated from Concord schools. Henry has deep experience with and knowledge of our town and has been active in town affairs for many years. In addition to going before and working with town committees and boards as an advocate, Henry has served on various town boards and committees, including CC Pools, the nonprofit that designed and built the Beatty Center, which stands today as a model for a public-private partnership. Henry is a past president of the Concord Rotary Club, a board member of the Concord Chamber of Music Society, and a lifetime member of the Friends of the Concord Free Public Library. Among his many professional affiliations, Henry is a member of the Gender Equality Committee of the New Hampshire Bar and sits on the Ethics Committee of the Massachusetts Real Estate Bar. Henry's wit, his experience as a practical problem solver, his knowledge of Concord and its various constituencies would be a great value to our town and members of the Select Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second for this nomination? If there is, please flick your lights. Thank you. All right, Mr. Whitfield, I think you're next.
Didn't plan ahead.
Gina, please tell us who you are before you make your remarks.
Where do I go? Here? Dina Whitfield, 67 Wits End Road. And it is my pleasure to nominate Linda Escobedo for a second term on the Board of Selectmen. I first met Linda when I joined the Board of Open Table, a food pantry and community supper serving all who come and asking no questions. Our terms only overlapped a couple of years, but I got to know Linda and witness her caring and commitment. Linda went on to serve on the UCargill Trust Committee and the Community Chest, where she remains on the Board of Overseers. She was elected to the Concord Housing Authority, where she served as chair for 4 years during the completion of the major Peter Bulkley Terrace Senior Housing Modernization Project. And she served as the Concord Housing Authority representative on the Community Preservation Committee for 4 years. Linda is currently completing her first 3-year term on the Select Board, where she serves as chair, a role that has had unique challenges, not only because we are experiencing the transition of a new town manager after the 26-year incumbency of the former town manager, but also because of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on municipal and town functions. Professionally, her work as an academic administrator and with the business sector gives her an appreciation for the many ways that our citizens contribute to the character and vitality of the town. And if that isn't enough, over the years, Linda has hosted over 80 international students in her home. She has given many years of service over the 40 years she has been a Concord resident. Through her leadership, she has quietly tried to incorporate disparate town voices in thoughtful deliberation on town issues. She has enjoyed meeting and working with all the talented volunteers on a number of town committees, as well as with Concord citizens while on the select board. She is committed to community engagement in the town's governance process and requests your support to continue to serve the town as a select board member for the next 3 years. I heartily nominate and recommend Linda Escobedo.
Thank you. Is there a second for this nomination? If so, flash your lights. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please.
My name is Edie Lipinski. I live at 133 Nursnack Hill Road. I nominate Carlin Reed of 83 Wits End Road, Concord, for Select Board. I've known Carlin as a good friend and neighbor for more than 10 years. She is very knowledgeable about all aspects of town government. I've also worked with Carlin as a fellow member of the League of Women Voters, where she has served in a number of positions. Carlin has already filed her nomination papers and has 76 certified signatures. She is ready and very well qualified to serve on the Select Board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for this nomination? If there is, please flash your light. Thank you. All right. Are there any other nominations for the Select Board? Seeing none, then I would entertain a motion to close the nominations. Thank you. Is there a second? I see that there is. All those in favor, flicker your lights. All those opposed, or raise your hands. All those opposed? Thank you. The motion passes, and I declare by the previous rule, these 3 people are nominated. Next, we will entertain nominations for the school committee. If you are planning to nominate someone, please come to the podium. All right. Yep, come on up. Who are you planning to nominate?
Portland, please.
Okay, and do we have another nomination?
Yes.
Please come up. You can go right to the microphone. And you're going to introduce Tracy?
Tracy Moran.
Okay, so right after, you want to write their name and address down on this?
I'll write the name and address.
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Before you introduce the nominee, tell us who you are and where you live.
Fabulous.
My name is Erin Fife. I live at 174 Hill Street, and it's my honor to nominate Cortland Booth of 144 Wright Road for a second term of school committee. In the past 3 years, he's shown a strong commitment to our community and our schools. For many, many years before he was on the school committee and continuing on, he's been an advocate for our students, committed to visibility. He's been an organized and thoughtful school committee leader. And I am so excited to have him working for us and for our students and for our committee, our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for this nomination? I see that there is. Thank you very much, ma'am. Write the name and address here.
Right under it.
Wash
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kristen Martinez. I live at 66 Alford Circle. Closer. Okay. I'm here to nominate Tracy Morano of 39 Partridge Lane for the position of school committee. My family and I have lived in Concord for 20 years, and I've known Tracy for 15 years. I've had the pleasure of working directly with her on numerous occasions. We served together on the board of directors of Milldam Nursery School for 5 years. Tracy took on many roles there, including president, the chair of membership, and vice president. During her time at Milldam, Tracy led the board and the entire school through a building renovation where we had to find a new temporary home for the preschool and also manage some unpleasant HR issues. Tracy is a problem solver and a team player, and also one of the most hardworking people I know. Tracy and I currently serve together on the CMS PTG board, and I can tell you she knows how to work in committee settings. Tracy does not back down from uncomfortable situations or conversations, but she is always respectful and kind. She is also involved with the National Charity League, a mother-daughter volunteer charity organization, and also a member of the CPAC PTG. I could go on and on. Tracy was a special education teacher prior to having her own children. She is aware of how schools and districts operate, and she knows how to work toward a common goal. She is a doer. As her dad always says after asking her for help, if I want to get something done, I always ask the busiest person. Tracy is the busiest person, but she thrives in that environment. She is a mother of 4 children who are or were in the Concord and Carlisle School District. One has graduated and the other 3 are at CCHS and CMS. She is very familiar with all of the schools in town due to her extensive involvement. She has served on the PTG at Alcott and also on the board of the Concord Ed Fund. After many years of urging Tracy to run for school committee, I could not be happier that we are here, and I do firmly believe there is no one that is better qualified to serve on the school committee than Tracy. Please accept my nomination of Tracy Morano for school committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for this nomination? I see that there is. Are there any other nominations for school committee? Seeing none, I propose a motion to close the nominations for school committee. Is there a second? Thank you. All those in favor? Thanks very much. All those opposed? Thank you. The motion passes, and I do declare by the previous rule these people to be nominees of the caucus. Next, we're going to nominate positions for 3 of the Concord Housing Authority, a 5-year term, a 2-year term, and a 1-year term. If you're planning to nominate someone for one of those, would you please come to the podium? And the first is for the 5-year term. Is that you?
It's me,
Oh,
yes, sir.
hi.
Morning.
How are you?
Cold.
Yeah, no kidding.
Put the name down first. Fantastic, good. Thank you. My name is Matt Boger, 121 Baker Avenue. I'm here to enthusiastically nominate Stephen Bader of 7 River Street for the 5-year term on the Housing Council Committee. I've known Stephen for literally decades. His advocacy and his passion for affordable housing is fantastic. His dedication to this community, not only on the library, but for civic engagement is inspiring. He would be an excellent addition to the Housing Committee and a wonderful treasure to Concord for serving his term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for that nomination? I see that there is. Are there any other nominations for this 5-year term? Seeing none, I propose a motion to close the nominations. Is there a second? I see that there is. All those in favor? Flash lights, thank you. All those opposed? I declare the nominations closed, and by previous rule that this is the nominee of the caucus. So a nomination for a 2-year term to the Concord Housing Authority. I can't see, is someone coming up? Sir. Hi.
Hi. Thank you.
Your name and address here?
Oh, okay.
Please tell us your name and address before you introduce the nominee.
Edward Larner, 34 Everett Street. And it is my pleasure to nominate Charles Phillips of 54 Fairhaven Road for the one-year term to fill out that he already is temporarily appointed by the Select Board unanimously. Charles is a longtime resident of Lincoln and Concord, attended MIT for an undergraduate degree in physics and a graduate degree in engineering and management from Stanford. While at Stanford, he did an internship in Washington, D.C., where he met his wife and lifetime partner, Evan. After graduation, he worked for 2 years at the Rand Corporation in Santa Monica, then moved back to Boston to begin a long career with the U.S. Department of Transportation in Cambridge. They moved to Concord in 1977, where they raised their 3 children. Evan has served on several town committees, and upon retirement in 2001, Charles started his town involvement with the Affordable Housing Committee, then moving to the private Concord Housing Foundation, becoming president from 2013 until this January. Charles was the foundation spokesperson for the Warrant Article 49 in 2017, calling for a new funding mechanism to finance affordable housing in Concord. An amended article resulted in the 2019 town meeting approval of 3 warrant articles to obtain funds and establish housing funding agency. Concord is waiting for the state to pass home rule legislation on this new funding mechanism. When I learned that Charles was stepping down as leader of the Housing Foundation, I asked him if he was willing to serve on a sudden vacancy on the Housing Authority's board. He enthusiastically agreed to step up and meet our need. He is fully qualified to represent Concord with the state agency that manages over 200 housing units and vouchers. Service is a hallmark of his generation. I can think of no one better qualified to fill this board vacancy. He truly loves our uniquely New England region. As a pastime, he provides guided tours and walks in the Walden Woods and Pond. He is also an active participant in the Thoreau Society. You can't get much more of a Concordian than that. Please approve Charles Phillips for the town election ballot of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for this nomination? I see that there is. Are there any other nominations for this position? Seeing none, I would propose a motion to close the nominations. Do I have a second for that motion? I see that I do. All those in favor of the motion, please flick your lights or raise your hand. Thank you. Opposed? Thank you very much. I declare the nominations closed, and by prior rule, I conclude that he is the nominee of the caucus. Is there someone to nominate someone for the Concord Housing Authority for a single-year term? Manuel, are you?
Candidate's name and address.
Okay.
Please tell us your name and address before you introduce the
Hello, my name is Manuel Kroback, and I live at 1 Thornton Lane in Concord. It is my honor to nominate my wife for the one-year term in the Concord Housing Authority. My wife is Stephanie Kroback, and she has an extensive background in public health. She graduated with a master's in public health from Michigan, which is one of the better universities in the country for that. She has extensive experience internationally and nationally in healthcare management and strategic development. She spent, I think, 2 or 3 years in working for USAID in Cairo, Egypt. Since then, she spent all of her time in Massachusetts in various online support positions, managing and developing healthcare in Massachusetts, and more recently consulting nationwide. For the past 3 years, she's volunteered to be the head of the grant writing department at Open Table in Maynard. That's a pretty well-known food pantry. She's a very intelligent, very committed individual, and I am sure that she would add tremendous value to this organization. I hope that you will accept her nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a second for this nomination? I see that there is. Are there any other nominations for this position? Seeing none, I would move that the nominations be closed. Is there a second for that motion? I see that there is. All those in favor, please raise your hands and flick your lights. All those opposed, motion passes, and I declare that she is a nominee of the caucus. Well, will all of the candidates who are nominated tonight, if they're here, please come forward and speak with the town clerk before leaving to accept nomination and collect campaign finance material. I have a very quick set of announcements and we'll be finished. This is just a reminder that for those who may want to run for these offices and weren't here this evening, nomination papers are due by February 4th at 5 p.m. Annual town election is March 5th. The voter registration deadline is March 5th. The polls are open on March 25th from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. And the annual town meeting, the voter registration deadline is May 24th. And our annual town meeting this year is going to be June 13th at the Doug White Athletic Fields as it was last year. I would entertain a motion to close the 2021 Town Caucus. Seeing that, is there a second? I see that there is. All those in favor, please raise your hands or flick your lights. I see that the motion passes, and I so declare. Thank you all very much for coming, and good evening.